Hello, my friends. And from the comments, many believe that the attack on the Kharkiv region had been repelled and the occupiers had stopped, but in reality, no. So the occupiers continue their offensive actions as yesterday towards the evening, and this morning there are reports of new waves of attacks. And today we see that the occupiers have already passed the village of Pilna, which is located right on the border with Russia, and battles are already 3 kilometers from the border. Also near the village of Krasne, Mirachovets, Olinikovo, and near the border. So battles are taking place beyond the village of Strelechna. So, and the fact that the occupiers are trying to advance on Kharkiv is beyond doubt. So because the number of shelling is maximally high, so they are trying to break through the territory with villages to Kharkiv itself. So it's clear that they have a certain plan of action, and the armed forces of Ukraine write that the occupiers are destroying all the villages. So let me translate for you. Kharkiv alarm. Already 12 hours. The region is under constant shelling with caps. The Russians are destroying villages. And unfortunately, the armed forces of Ukraine already record the concentration of Russian troops in the Sumy region. Therefore, there is a likelihood that offensive actions will also begin here. And as you can see, the Russians take advantage of the fact that they have a huge amount of resources. So they are expanding the front line to stretch the Ukrainian forces to the maximum. And today, this has been discussed in the Center of Counter and Disinformation that the occupiers, by such actions, are pulling forces from Pokrovsk and Chasiv Yar directions. So, what something will come up of this, I think we'll find out soon. And maybe this is a secondary goal. So they have repeatedly claimed to create a buffer zone. And because there were attacks on Belgorod, they decided to go to Kharkiv and Sumy. And as you can see, according to the plan of the Legion of Freedom of Russia and the Russian Volunteer Corps, they were supposed to liberate Belgorod. And today the battles are ongoing in Vovchansk, so the city is being destroyed by shelling, and the surrounding villages are also under attacks, and offensive actions continue at the border. So this situation is extremely difficult, and they have no intention of stopping. So it's clear that for now they are only testing the defense, and the armed forces of Ukraine write that the main forces of the occupiers haven't yet been introduced. So for now, some units have only been sent for reconnaissance and shelling, and here they are preparing the territory for assault. So Vovchansk and other villages are already been evacuated. So now let's move on to the situation along the front line. And let's start with the Chasiv Yar direction. So here the occupiers have started to advance very actively from Bogdanivka from Bogdanivka to Kalinivka and Grigorivka. So this indicates that they want to stretch the flanks around Chasiv Yar and create a pivot. So since assault on this city directly results in too many casualties for them, so that's why yesterday we saw assaults in the Stupachki area, but they failed to secure their position there. And today they are trying to stretch northern flank. So let's see what they can achieve this time. And in the area of Klishivka and Andriivka, battles are also ongoing. But here everything remains unchanged. The Ukrainian forces successfully repel all attacks. in the Pokrovsk direction. So the situation remains very difficult. So the occupiers continue their offensive actions towards Kalinove and Novo-Alexandrivka. So this indicates that their plans to reach the highway haven't stopped and they are actively storming settlements to advance further. So battles are also ongoing for the village of Sokil and in the area of Novopokrovsk. So there is a maximum number of shelling. Further south, so the occupiers have practically completely captured the village of Sokil, but the Ukrainian forces are still trying to hold their positions on the outskirts, and there are intense battles going on there for them. So, in the direction of Kurakhove, the occupiers have once again started storming Krasnohorivka. So, as we already know, the southern part of the village is under their control, and battles are taking place in the northern part of the village. So, battles are also ongoing near the village of Kostantinivka. But there, the Ukrainian forces are conducting counterattacks and attempting to push the Russians back from the positions lost in recent days. So the general staff also has reported combat actions even in the area near the village of Solotke. And we are still waiting to see how the situation will develop in this direction. So in the direction of Vuhledar, the occupiers are not conducting attacks on Vodyane today, and attacks are only reported in the area near Staromayorsk. But there have been no significant changes within the day, and shelling continues as usual. In the Zaporizhia direction, so battles continue for Robotyne, and shelling along the front line persists. However, Russian activity is low here and the front line remains unchanged. In the Kherson direction, so assaults on the village of Krinke are not reported today. So, but shelling persists along both the left bank and the entire right bank. So, in the Syrisk direction, occupiers are attempting to storm Bilohorivka, Verkhnyokamyansk, and Rozdolivka. So, the activity remains high, with around 10 attacks reported in a day. However, there are still no successes for the Russians, and the front line remains unchanged. And when I say there are no successes, I'm referring to the specific direction, and some may interpret it as a lack of success across the entire front line. So, in the Crimea direction, occupiers continue to assault Torsk and intensively shell all frontline villages in the area. Attacks on Makiyivka are also reported, but there have been no changes in the front line over the past day. So the Ukrainian forces continue to successfully hold their defense. In the Svatove direction, so occupiers continue to assault Stelmachivka and Berestove as before. But after major breakthroughs, they haven't achieved any new successes and the front line remains unchanged for several days. In the Kupiansk direction, so occupiers haven't made any advances near Petropavlivka. So today battles are only raging for Sinkivka. So the front line remains unchanged in this area as well. And meanwhile, due to their advance on Kharkiv, Russian politicians are already announcing that soon they will have one more region under their control and they intend to distribute Ukrainian lands to participants of the war. However, so today, the armed forces of Ukraine continue to destroy the occupied bases, and this time the strike was on the Luhansk region, 110 kilometers from the front line. And according to preliminary information, the strike was carried out by Kasit missile attacks. And to increase the strikes on Russian targets, the US will announce another aid package today. So, as reported by Politica, the aid will be provided in the amount of $400 million. So, this package will involve transferring weapons already in US stocks, includes new Patriot missiles, Stinger anti-aircraft missiles, Bradley fighting vehicles, mine-protected vehicles, and Javelin anti-armor systems and other munitions. And today, Borrell told the truth about the situation and negotiations. The only thing that could be called a peace plan is a Zelensky proposal, because the Chinese peace plan, while it's not a peace plan, it is a set of wishful consideration, wishful thinking, but is not a peace plan. The only one is the one that has been proposed by Ukrainians, but certainly will not be accepted by the Russians. But let's face the reality. Like it or not, the reality is Putin continues saying, I have military objectives, and as far as I don't get these military objectives, I will continue fighting. So the peace plans are good, but you need someone that wants to talk about peace, really. If you do find someone who says, I have military objectives and I will continue bombing, I will continue fighting until I get them. Well, what kind of peace talks that you want to do? So, and here is the undeniable truth. Russia has a huge amount of resources. They are being held by Iran, China, North Korea, and even Belarus. And that's why they continue to pursue their goals, as evidenced by the new advance on Kharkiv. So, because we all remember how the armed forces of Ukraine conducted a successful counteroffensive, pushing the Russians back beyond the Ukrainian border. And now, after a long time, the Russians have amassed a large number of forces and are again trying to return to previously captured territory. And after all, they previously stood practically at the borders of Kharkiv. So, let's see what they will achieve this time. But for now, it's all for me. Don't forget, please, to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and of course, hit the notification bell to stay updated on all the latest news. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Bye bye.